Hold on. Okay, man, we live on the tube, man. And we trying to figure it out. What's the difference in the renegades? Is it a renegade that's just never had a folks? You know, she might have the dope boy. Or is the renegade the one that knows what the pimping is and just don't like the pressure of the pimp, so she stays away? No, she never been turned out. Oh, renegade. So see, some people say a renegade never been turned out. So she don't want to be turned out? Let's see what she be talking about. This is just a little clip. I want y'all to get a visual of her and what she be talking about.
He knew exactly what to say
Let me turn
to make me believe it was my fault. And that was his reasoning. He felt justified for what was to come and him assaulting me, ultimately. And so, in my opinion,
go for a little longer.
The coverted pimp is much worse than the overted pimp. Now, some may disagree, but I feel like the coverted predator...
You see how when she speaks, she's giving different titles in front of the pimp terminology. That's a telltale sign that she's really, really never had folks before. But she's had a bad experience with a dude that's claiming to be a pimp. In her eyes, he's a pimp. But within the community, the pimping hoe community, he really wouldn't be the pimping. And he knows that himself. So now she has a bad taste in her mouth. And, you know, she seems a little seasoned, looking at the visual, that she probably was with this dude for a long period of time. If she had the D-boy. Yeah, if she had the D-boy, she's not a renegade, right? She's just, and I think a lot of these girls, they'll hit this renegade thinking that they actually had some real folks, but really, they never had no real folks.
Has more access to children and underage girls.
You see, she's comparing them predators. A lot of these girls, hey, what's happening, man? If you in here, try to share this. But a lot of these girls, man, or these females, I should say, they'll get in this game on some, you know, out-of-pocket type shit. On some non-pimping, non-hoeing ways, right? Just on that weird predator shit type of ways. And they'll get in this game, and that dude that actually is, like, you feel me, a predator, be claiming he's this and he's that. And really, he's not, you know what I mean? So they'll think that's what it's about with a lot of gentlemen in the lifestyle. So they'll be closed-minded. They'll get in a box and really not want to deal with no type of dude that says he's a pimp, because they think that predator was the pimp man, when really it wasn't.
Because, again, these are people that we trusted. So they have more time. They have more access. Now, with the overt pimp, he has a degree of arrogance that is not going to make him stay for very long. Like, he will only pursue a girl for so long before he throws in the towel and gives up, because he has an ego.
What's going on?
He's like, look how flashy and hot I am. Look what I've achieved. I have money with or without you, babe. So if you don't pick me, if you don't choose this pimpin', another one will. Another one will.
See, and when she talks about that, she's saying that as if it's a bad thing, right? When necessarily it's not a bad thing, right? To be able to actually tell a person, like, to deal with me, you have to have a type of morals, you have to have a type of drive with yourself, right? Nobody wants to carry no dead weight. But a female with bad experience within this game, then when they start introducing themselves to new pimps, or pimps start introducing themselves, because a lot of these females, they'll enter this lifestyle the wrong way, the incorrect way, right? And they'll stay in the lifestyle. They'll get away from that situation, but all they know is how to get their money is through this lifestyle, right? So they'll deal with teas, right? but not really knowing what a P is. And with them doing that, they're gonna run into real P's that are, you know, kind of have those type of characteristics that she's talking about right here.
And so he at least will leave a bit faster. Whereas the coverted pimp can take his time. The coverted predator watches and waits meticulously. And a lot of times they go under the radar. So, to the youth out there, to the young kids,
Look, now she getting into kids. She calling people predators. This was just the end of a video just to give a visual. I really want to show y'all this other one she made where she's kind of, well, let's just get into it. Where is it at? Here it go.
Maybe younger. And the other two were about 4 women today. 2 were young girls around the age of 18 or maybe younger. And the other 2 were about in their 30s. And all of them appeared to be disheveled and were split.
Oh yeah, that's what she's talking about. So she's talking about, you know, I'm assuming she was on the blade somewhere, and she was running into females that was outside, right? And she's basically trying to give a telltale of a female that is not, that is what, I guess, you know, quote unquote, a predator. When really it's not a predator. Let her explain real quick.
And hair matted.
Got like some birds, bees, bugs in the background.
Mini skirts. One was in heels. And the other 2 looked to be a bit washed over, as in their clothing was stained. And I could just tell from their appearance that they were on the track. And for those of you who don't know what track means, just an area where girls who are prostituting go. And I was worried for these girls.
Now, she says, you know, the track is where prostitutes go, and she's worried that the girls that's on the track, for some odd reason, let's let her explain why she's so worried. Because, mind you guys, this girl is an ex-prostitute, so I'm pretty sure she's walked the track before, you know, and this is why she's worried about them. Let her explain.
And I asked if they need help, if they were okay, if they were safe. And each one that I spoke to just gave a polite smile and said, "Oh, I'm fine. No, thank you. I don't need anything." And these girls, you could just tell that they had been walking around for hours because of their appearance.
But look, so now she's talking about these girls been walking around for hours because of their appearance, as if it's a bad thing, right? Mind you, she ain't seen no pimp, these are all the females outside, right? So watch how she tries to flip it.
And none of them had purses or bags, which is another clue, right? That someone is watching them or someone is in control of them.
No, that's a clue that maybe when they make their money, they got hiding spots on their bodies, or they don't want to have a lot of money or have a purse to emulate they have money and get robbed. You know, maybe that's what it is. But continue.
taking their money or taking their belongings. None of them were carrying bags, purses, wallets, um, or just anything to indicate that they were on a mission, or they were on the way to the library, or on the way to the grocery store, or just got out of school. Like they were just walking around aimless with no goal.
No, they had a goal. They was on a mission and they had a goal. Just from the outside looking in, because she came in the game the wrong way, right? And now that she came in the game the wrong way, that dude that she was dealing with, because and I think it's in this video, she's gonna explain the dude that she was dealing with was a dope boy. So she has that bitter taste in her mouth to thinking the dope boy is the pimp man, which is not. So now she stays in the game, but she becomes a renegade. And she renegades for so long that she's never really quite learned the game. But let her continue.
And so I recognize these signs right away, because that used to be me. That used to be me. Under the control of a pimp. Or better yet, a group of pimps. Because I worked for him, and he had multiple girls. And then he knew other pimps who also had multiple girls. So it was basically like a criminal organization.
No, it's a community. It's a community. Most of those girls out there, most of them females out there, choose to be out there and do things correctly. But it's some girls that entered this game forcefully, and those dudes that force these girls into this lifestyle are not pimps. And I wish that the girls that come in this way, because this is one way you could become, I guess, a renegade. I really don't consider these girls a renegade. I just call them, S workers that really ain't experienced the real of the community, which is the pimp and hoe community. They just, they got in the life. They know what a John is. They know what a trick is. So they think they know what a pimp and hoe is now. When really they don't. So when they see girls outside, they think, oh, I was there. I know what she's going through and that. And it's like, man, you don't know that girl. They could be trying to come up. She want to be down. Everybody want to be down. And they just trying to come up. So, yeah, she might be out there a couple, 10 hours or whatever the case may be. Yeah, she might be out there with some slides on. You feel me? Not looking, like she got $1 million. But it's all about the come up. And a lot of people don't see that. But let us see what she say.
A whole nother world within our society. And a lot of times people will see these women, they'll see these young girls walking around, and they will completely look over them and ignore them, or think they're dirty, or that they're up to no good. But the truth of the matter is, they are under a very strong form of indoctrination and brainwashing, and also manipulation from their traffickers.
That is crazy.
I know that when I was working the streets, I was made to believe that it was my role and my responsibility to make X amount of money several times a day for multiple days in a row, so the bills could be paid. So
now, when she says that, does that now sound like anybody that has a job? Right? Like, so when you choose this lifestyle, you choose it to have a responsibility, right? Your job is hoeing, his job is pimping. You're a woman for sure. He's a man too, but y'all choosing this profession. So therefore, there's going to be hours where, you got to clock in. There's going to be hours where you get to clock out. And for sure, we're doing this for bills to live a lifestyle, hopefully speed up faster than how the squares live. Because why? We're making faster money. So yes, it's going to be that. And I understand, let her finish. I get her, She's never been with a pimp. Watch, let her explain.
The lights can be on so people could have food, so we could have groceries in the house. And also on my dime, video games, card games, dominoes, all these things bought and purchased at my expense.
You don't like playing cards?
And so I felt bad if I couldn't make money some nights. And I would apologize. And sometimes I would get beaten.
Right there. See? Now, that's a telltale sign letting you know she's not dealing with a pimp. Because a pimp knows slow nights come, right? And that's why it's going to, always lead to pimping has a job to do, so we don't ever have to worry about slow nights. If it's a team thing, some person might not be scoring on a team, but if it's 5 of us on the team or whatever, we can pass, we might come back, this person didn't score. So, you know what I mean? And we still up. Look, the scoreboard, we're still winning. Why? Because we're a team. And that's what it's about. It's not about, she chose, she didn't get with a pimp first off. So her mindset is all fucked up. You could tell the dude was just probably leeching off her and getting hella mad when she ain't making money. And she was trying. She seemed like she was a team player. She wanted it. She said she would get depressed when she didn't make money for the games and stuff. I thought she was going to get mad, but she was really like, that was hurting her. And pimping understanding slow nights, that's the time to be letting her know, look, this is what we signed up for, so let me stay at my job, you going to stay at your job, and everything going to get back right. Let's see what she say.
And slapped and raped because I didn't fulfill my role within our family. Even though as I look back on that now, I was the only one who had a role. Nobody else was doing anything. I mean, my trafficker from time to time would sell dope, but by no means was he contributing.
You see what I'm saying? My trafficker, which, she all messed up in her head, so she think, well, he might been a trafficker, but, that's a far reach. He was just non-pimping. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know if he trafficking or nothing. That's the police words nowadays. Me, this nigga just ain't no pimp. He dealing with females that want to be in the lifestyle, and he doing it all wrong. He ain't no pimp. But, telltale, he used to sell dope time to time, right? So that's a telltale letting you know he's a dope boy. He really wasn't, campaigning, trying to get other females, clocking it in like she clocking it in and letting her know this is how it go. He wasn't even letting the one that's down with him, if he only had one, which is her, letting her know, look, man, slow nights come. It's going to get greater later. He ain't, he ain't in his pimp mood. He looked like he was just leeching, probably lazy motherfucker. And the renegade can get brainwashed from that. And she seems seasoned to where she's been brainwashed a lot. But she also seems interested. Because if you go through her little channel, which we will go through a little bit, she done reached out to Real Peas. And she'll say it. Hold on one second. But let her finish real quick. And then we'll see, who the pimp she reached out to trying to pick up some game.
To our whorehouse in the way that me and the other girls were.
No, it's not necessarily she thinks she knows it all. It's she thinks all pimps are like that one experience she was with. To where her guard is up, right? Her guard is up to where she's vulnerable. So every dude that approaches her, she thinks they're trying to con her. She thinks they're trying to get over on her. You know what I mean?
And it reminds me of another young girl that I met along the way who was not a part of our family. She was someone I met out on the streets who happened to be 2 years younger than me. This girl was 13 years old when I was 15.
Oh, see, I didn't know she was talking about when she was a kid. You damn sure know she wasn't dealing with a pimp. And when it's kids, when they get traumatized like this at a young age, they're for sure not going to want to deal with the pimp man. You get what I'm saying? She's a grown woman telling this video, but from the start to finish, she ain't never let us know she was at this age in this game. She started out saying that she was driving down the blade and seeing the girls, and it reminded of herself. And when you remind yourself as a kid, and I'm assuming she's seen kids out there, then yeah, there's for sure no reason for kids to be out there, right? That's for sure, for sure. And any dudes that's dealing with them kids out there, damn sure ain't the pimp. Damn sure is a predator. Now, it says how pimps, the title is, so I'm assuming she was talking about pimps. But if she's talking about when she's a kid, she for sure wasn't dealing with no pimps. And if she got of age and stayed within the game, she could be traumatized. And you can't really give her the title of a renegade, because if she's never introduced to the game the correct way with, real folks that introduce her the right way to this game, and then she just can't take, whether it's the pressure or whether it's the competition. If it's really not competition, but she might think it's competition because other females is around, and then she blows, and then anti of that, but still want to get money within that. That's the title of a renegade to me, right? That's what I think. When I hear renegade, that's what I think of. A female that's been in the game, been with some real folks, but she one of the two, can't take the pressure or the competition or whatever the case may be, but she's been with some real, real program, and she's anti to that now. But she still want to get the money out the trick. So she still want to be in the game. She know everything, and she carries that game that she got from her folks. For example, if we was to try to find a video of a real renegade, most of these renegades that be talking on YouTube, I don't really be thinking have real folks, right? Because I think the real renegades that have real folks, they're smart enough not to even be on these podcasts doing interviews, right? I be thinking them renegades that never had folks but busted dates before. And not even in this female's case, right? This female was more of the S worker, where she came in the wrong way, traumatized already, but stays in the game, getting tricks and stuff. But she thinks, oh, the man that's for the female in this lifestyle is the worst man ever, because they're traumatized entering the lifestyle. So they trust the trick more than they trust the man that's for the woman in the lifestyle. Let's see what she closes with.
Similar situation. And I know that if I could redo anything, like I just wish I could have helped that girl more when I came across her.
Oh yeah, because she's really emotionally traumatized through the lifestyle, and she carries that heavy on her, sleeves, to where she thinks a lot of females that might be not so traumatized of the lifestyle are traumatized of the lifestyle. Now, once again, we're only talking about adults, so I don't really talk about kids. She said them ages, and I get that, but we gonna imagine that she's talking about adults. Kids don't count for none of this. You can't even talk about it, right? Like the I don't know, the little LA girl, the kid that's on the Adam 22 shit. That shit should not be even happening. You can't acknowledge kids, because when you acknowledge the kids, that makes it relevant. That makes it something, when it's really nothing, right? So anything that's under the age, and we're talking about blades and outside and this and that, you can't pay no attention, because it's not a part of the real pimping hoe community. That shit is just like amateur shit. I don't know what that shit is called. You know what I mean? I can understand back in the times, the old ages and shit where motherfuckers, I could get that. That could be a talking point. But now, It's like, man, this shit is so excluded and on the social networks and stuff. The only way to prevent it and make this shit a secret society is all the mockery and all the bullshit. You can't entertain it. You can't acknowledge it. Why? Because that's how you create the secret society again. But if you trying to put your cape on and fixing everything, then it's like you're just bringing it. You're just opening up the door for anybody to critique it and put their 2 cents in and think what the real is and what the fake is and all that. And it's like, look, let them do all that bickering. The ones that's really in it, just exclude that shit. Don't even acknowledge it. Just stay focused on what this community got going, and that's how you keep moving. But yeah, she talked to a little famous dude. Let's see what she said. She talked to the famous YouTube pimp Sinful. Well, she didn't. She said she paid for his time or something like that. Let's see. It's a little 8-minute video. Let's see. Let me start it over.
Sinful the P.
Oh, she got
about
music
4 or
on this
5 years ago.
motherfucker, dog. Oh my god.
This was during the time when Sinful was starting to grow his social media presence, and
we might only play a little bit
we
of
would
this.
occasionally see him in O'Shea's chat room or
Oh
roasting
no.
Popies online.
Nah, we ain't gonna. She got music and shit playing in the back. What she say? Definitions of a pimp, 25 words. Misuse, commonly misused. Let's see what she say on this one. She giving definitions.
If anyone gets confused or needs clarification, they can just come back to this video. The first one is PIMP, or just the letter P, which is a person who exploits others for sexual or monetary gain and withholds the earnings. Then we have Gorilla P, which is a person who uses extreme force, such as threats, harm, or drugging to exploit others.
Let's break this down. So when they be putting these titles in front of the pimp, the title pimp, right? When they put another title in front of it, for example, she just said Gorilla Pimp. Those are police terminologies, right? To expand trying to put somebody in jail. So they're going to create a gorilla pimp, a Romeo pimp, a this pimp, or that pimp. Why? Because when they sell it to the jury or to the judge, it makes it make sense, right? So that the quote unquote human trafficker expert, quote unquote the pimp and hoe expert, which is the police, will come up there using those type of terminologies to narrow it down to somebody actually doing something, which is pimping, right? So you can have a dude that's just driving around helping a girl that want to be in the lifestyle, and she gives him a couple of dollars or something, right? They could put pandering on him for sure, that's gonna stick. But then they could try to put pimping on him. Why? Because now when it's time to go to trial or whatever, or a prelim, they could tell the judge like, oh, he's just that type of Romeo pimp. You get what I'm saying? The gorilla pimp. Now they put it on. Now it's like, oh, the pimp is just a pimp, man. He's not a beating up nobody, and the Romeo dude is just the dude. I don't know, the nice guy, right? He ain't that either. He's just the man for the female that chooses this lifestyle.
Next, we have the manager P, which is a person who organizes the business affairs and appointments, and usually works for a flat fee. They're not threatening, they're not controlling. So unlike the regular P.
Okay, so I'm assuming she's talking about like brothels and shit, people that manage brothels and things like that, to where they getting their money regardless. They could be extra nice. You could come when you want, you could leave when you want. Those ain't pimps either, right? Those are those are the white people that's just trying to tax a lucrative business, which they know tricks ain't going nowhere. They might be tricks their damn self. So they just want to get taxed. They want to get a piece of the money from that because they understand the trick, right? If you understand the trick ain't going nowhere, you gonna want to create an OnlyFans. You gonna want to open up a brothel, right? You gonna want to try to get you a strip club. If you got the money, and the people to make it happen.
It's more established up front, the rates and rules and everything. Then we have the POP, which is a fraud pretending to be a P. We have the cross country P, which is a P who travels from place to place, usually across the country. And this P usually eludes law enforcement quite easily because of how often they move around.
You see these. I don't know where she's getting these definitions from, but I'm assuming, the police put this shit in somewhere because the cross country P just means, it don't necessarily mean he's trying to get away from the police state to state. Like, oh shit, we got to keep it moving. It's just a nigga that want to travel. He might want to go see what it look like over here. He might now. There's always debate. Now, if your game didn't been cross country, is your pimping cross country, right? Does pimping really got to touch the state to really be cross country? That's something that we can debate down the line if anybody wanted to, or throw their 2 cents in, or I put a question in the story or something. But yeah, man, she got the wrong definition for a cross country pimping. But let her go. We just talking.
Next, we have the female P, also known as the madam, which is a female version who exploits others for schmexual or monetary gain. They are rare, but they do still exist. We have Trick, John.
Madams, I don't consider them pimps. Like, if I get it, if you're a madam, and those is like brothels to me, right? Most madams, they the brothel manager, the madam, right? That's how they try to do it. Now these females that really be trying to be outside and doing their thing with females, that's just I can understand, like, if the gay female that want to try to get the females and to get their money. I'm not really mad at that female. I'm more mad at the female that's the 304 in that situation, because it's like, why would you want to pay a female that might be capable of doing the same thing you can do? You know what I mean? That's just what I don't get. And it's like, because it's not only that she could do the same thing you can do, also it's more like you're getting, the way you get your money is from a man, right? So you might want to pick up some tricks and traits from another man. And if you're going back to another female and she's trying to give you more knowledge and pick up traits, to break on a man, it's not going to catch the same. You feel me? It might not hit the same, because the female ain't never been a man, so she really can't think. What do you say? She ain't never had no real male structure in her life. Right. And it's not even about the structure part. It's just about picking up tricks and trades to deal with other men. You know, I don't, guys, I don't know. You can call it structure. Yeah, you want to for sure give her structure to be with a man. Like, a lot of females don't know the structure of being with a man because they don't know how to be a female to a male. So I get you on that for sure. But just compare with a madam, you know, they don't got enough male knowledge to give to a female to go break on another male.
Or client. And these are the people who engage in the purchase of HOs and pros, which I will also be defining. Then we have turn a trick, which is an HO who finds and completes a date with a trick. Then we have the word date, which is intimate time spent between an HO and a trick. Then we have the word turn out, which is to morally or spiritually corrupt someone.
Oh my
basically
God.
to change them from their previous lifestyle. Next we
Wait. So look, she said you what did she say? She said you morally. Hold on, let's see if we could go back. We gotta get this one. What did she say?
to change them from their previous lifestyle.
To change them from their previous
Next we
lifestyle.
have
To change them from their previous lifestyle. Hold on, man. She be just wildin'.
to change them from their previous lifestyle.
Hold on, now I don't want to go back further.
Which is to morally or spiritually corrupt someone.
Corrupt. That's
basically
the word I wanted to get. Corrupt them from their lifestyle. So to turn somebody out is to corrupt them from their lifestyle. corrupting from their lifestyle. So it's like, that's not what a turnout is, right? A turnout is somebody that is intrigued with the lifestyle and chooses to be in the lifestyle on their own, therefore being turned out into something new that they never learned, right? To where they might had an idea like, oh, okay, yeah, you run up to a female and they think they know something about it, and then you would tell them, no, it's really like and they'd be like, oh, okay, and so they're turning out towards that, and we just use turn out. You could say turn on, but for females it's turned out. It's nowhere corrupt. Nobody's corrupting nothing. That's just the S worker, the one that's entered the lifestyle the wrong ways mindset.
To change them from their previous lifestyle.
She ain't never had no real male structure.
Next we have HO, which is a person who works under the instruction of a P and is only rewarded that title after a transaction of schmecks for cash has occurred. Okay, so it's almost like a status title in the P and HO culture to be given that title of HO. Then we have pro, or PROSTITUE.
And I don't necessarily agree with an HO being that definition, right? I look at that like, being a PO or prostitute, right? To where being an HO, you gotta have a PIMP. You get what I'm saying? Since we spelling out the words, I'm just copying what she doing, but you gotta have that, right? And that's what makes you the HO. If you doing all that, then you got different names. But if you ain't got the PIMP, then you don't get the HO, the HOE, and got 3 or 4 they can have. All that motherfuckers can have that shit.
Which is a person who works independently of a pimp and is regarded as the quote-unquote dirty form of an HO because of their lack of boundaries, lack of safety, and usually lack of sexual protection.
Right. So, right. See, now I get what she's saying, right? She's calling them girls that just do whatever for some money, which she's in that category, even though she might not do no whatever for no money, because over time she learned morals and standards, right? But she didn't learn that through being with a pimp. She probably learned that through, maybe, catching things or whatever the case may be, but she didn't learn that shit dealing with no pimping and understanding a pimping whole community and how things go. So you'll run into them girls that jump in here, they just know how to bust a date, and they doing whatever, God knows what, with, these tricks. And, you can put all that in the prostitute category. Because they're getting, they're getting currency for that, whatever they doing with the motherfuckers. But that's not an HO.
This is not something good to be referred to as a pro in the P and HO culture. Then we have square, which is a person who's unfamiliar with the P and HO culture and has never participated.
Yeah, that's
Next
correct.
we have cuffing. Cuffing is an HO who withholds money from their P.
Tucking.
Next
said
we have
cuffing. She said cuffing. It's tucking. I don't know if she said tucking or cuffing, but we gonna let her slide. But it's tucking, right? Yeah, it ain't cuffing. Cuffing is, that's a square term. That's, when you're cuffing the girl, hey, man, this is the one, guys. Hey, I'm locked in, man. You cuffing her up. It's tucking.
half stepping.
Half stepping.
Which is someone who's not fully committed or not making their full profit that they could be making. Next we have out of pocket, which is an HO who is breaking the rules or not following the instruction of her P.
I I don't know, man. See, you gotta be careful with how people use words, man, because they'll try to incriminate the pimp man with these terminologies, right? Out of pocket is more of a disrespectful, right? You know, to where you could be out of pocket because you just being disrespectful to the lifestyle you chose, not necessarily uh, your pimp's program or whatnot. You know, you could be out of pocket knowing what's in pocket and you just choosing not to be out of pocket. Just what the whole community knows is being in pocket, right? But it ain't necessarily disobeying the pimp's rules, man, because you know, pimping ain't got no rules, man. He just got some game. You feel me?
Next, we have to blow up, which is to throw a fit, cause a scene, or to inform law enforcement, which can be very dangerous for the HO because you never know how a P could react. It could react in violence or try to rob you or worse. Next, we have the word knock, which is a P attempting to steal another P's HO.
See, that's what I have to, and I get it. It's not. It's stealing ain't the like she be using these old police ass words and shit, man. But stealing ain't nothing about no stealing, and knocking is just about, you feel me, any female that chooses to fuck with you. You can, you know, knock a girl that doesn't have a pimp. You can knock a female that doesn't have a pimp. But knocking is just, you know, a terminology used to let, you know, other individuals know they got a new female. You know. And then yeah, you can use it like I knock somebody for their female too. You know, yeah, but you can knock Starbucks for a female. You can knock, you know, a lot of things for a female. But it's just, you're not necessarily stealing a female. She's choosing to deal with a different situation, right? She says stole. It's not you stealing them. It's you approached the female, and she, you know, she was digging you, and she chose to deal with that other individual. And that individual, that pimping, lets the other pimping know he knocked her, he served her, because that's the correct word. You know, I would use. He served her. He didn't really knock her. He served the pimp. You know, he knocked the bride, but he served the pimp. Okay, I get it. Yeah. He knocked the bride, but he served the pimp. And you know, it ain't nothing about no stealing though.
Pickpocket, which is a schmecks worker, being in close proximity to a trick to steal his money or other valuables, belongings from his pocket. Now, the origins of the word pickpocket, it is debatable. In my opinion, I believe that its origins mostly come from P and H culture because if you think about it, it's really not a lot of scenarios in which a person that you don't know is allowed very close proximity to your body, close enough that they're able to maneuver maneuver their hands into your pocket and steal your belongings. Like, I can only think of a few scenarios where someone could get that close to me, and one of them happens to be P and HO culture. But I don't know. You guys be the judge of that.
You didn't watch magicians pickpocketed people.
Next, you have
that's where it comes from.
catch a lick, which is to defraud, lie, con, steal. Then you have the word choose, which is an HO, choosing one P over another P. Then we have choosing fee, which is the fee an HO must pay to be with a different P. Okay, so if that P didn't actively come after or pursue that HO, she may have to do a number of things to prove.
Even if he pursued her, you know, she, and the fee, the pimp's fee is just to let the man know that she takes this lifestyle seriously, right? Because, you know, that pimp might have a lot of things going on, good things, got a lot of things going on, and then a female wants to choose to deal with him, and she comes in playing and put his life in jeopardy. But if a female comes with a fee, then she's showing a sense of she's serious. Hey, I take my money seriously, so I'm gonna take this situation you're in seriously. You know, I'm not coming in playing games.
Herself worthy, or prove herself worthy of being kept by that P. Next, we have dirty pimpin' or dirty mackin', which is a P speaking badly about another P or attempting to steal an HO, which is also very common, also very dangerous. This is a confrontation that's usually directly between two P's. Next, we have swan, which is a white female HO. Then we have duck, which is a black female HO. Next, we have chop, which is an Asian female HO. And so forth and so forth. I mean, I could go on and on about all the different animalistic names that P's give to women.
No, you just gotta understand. See, the pimp culture comes from the black culture, right? And black people, we roast, we joke, we got a little, it's all jokes, it's all fun and games, it's no disrespect. You know what I mean? It comes into with a joke. You get what I'm saying? Within the community, it's not like, oh, this is, degrading them or nothing like that. Nah, motherfucker will have a chop or have a duck, have a swine, and rock with a full of them. You know what I mean? Have a gang of ducks. It's all good. It's all part of the game.
Gotta make distinctions between them. Also, another word, sister wife, which could also be debated. Some say that sister wife originated from polygamy. But I just simply define it as one man with multiple women, or multiple women dedicated to one man.
I agree, though. Sister wives came from polygamy.
This would apply in both the P and HO culture and in the polygamous sector. So you be the judge of that. And then my favorite, last but not least, would be renegade. And so a renegade is an ex-HO who fled from a P and has created their own sovereignty and means of survival.
But see, remind you guys, understand how broad they titled the pimp. We just went over all these names they put in front of the pimp, right? So now that pimp is so broad that it's really not a pimp anymore. And this female's dealt with that broad-ass pimp that's the dope boy pimp or whatever, so they get a bad taste in their mouth and they become a renegade. Once again, I don't consider those females that's not been with no true, real ism. Now they want to live the lifestyle of renegade. I just don't see it. 1 second. I don't see it, but let's let her finish. She almost done. She's closing.
Let me say that again for y'all who didn't catch it. A renegade is an ex-HO who fled from a P and has created their own sovereignty and means of survival. Okay? Which I like to think of myself as, because I was once held captive and also brainwashed. And it took a number of years and some deep intervention, but I finally changed that. And what you will notice with this list, a lot of these...
I want to know this is, when you had that bad experience and traumatized and brainwashed, when you ran off and you became the renegade, We want to know that story. You know, a lot of people that don't really want to, the renegades that's been traumatized, and I call them the traumatized renegades. Really, I don't really want to give them the title renegades. I'm trying to put some respect on the renegade because I be thinking the renegade gonna come back with the pimp, right? These type of females never been with the pimp, so they gonna be really, really anti the pimp. I think renegades still follow the structures of from their last folks. They just know they not mentally strong to be within that culture, because they just know that, so they just ride the wave, get their little money, and but still stay to the structure of their folks. This female, I don't think really had folks. That's why she won't never tell the story of after she left and how she still stayed in the lifestyle, right? And did she prosper from doing that or whatnot? Because I'm still waiting to see, the rich renegade, the one that, got away and got rich, the renegade, you know what I'm saying? They ain't got no books, no movies, no nothing of that. They always got the sob story if they got away from the predator and the predator and the predator. And it's like, really, yeah, he might be a predator, but he's not the pimp. And y'all trying to just put it all on that dude and then mix that dude up with the pimp man. And it's like, nah, man, there's girls that's been with pimps that's been happy, living happy lives. Just because this female, this beautiful female had a bad experience with a dude that was claiming to be it or whatever the case may be, and now she was traumatized at a young age, and she's stuck with that trauma, and now she's trying to, give out to the renegades out there in the world. I'm here to tell you, the renegades could be fixed. The real ones that just left their folks, is just about understanding the right pimping for you that's going to let you, do your thing and not really be trying to get all in your brain and stuff. You feel me? But you do need a man out there for you if you still gonna live this lifestyle. So whether you this type of renegade where she's been traumatized at a young age, or the renegade that just can't take that pressure or that competition, you gotta understand, don't give up. There's so many unique pimps out there that just keep looking for the pimp man that's right for you. Because if you don't, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna end up with the trick man, or you're gonna end up with the square man that be tricking on the low. You know what I mean? But that's all I got for y'all tonight, man. I'm gone.